Well, we're gonna see how this works out. I had to drop a lot of unnecessary stuff, obviously. I really didn't think too hard before I packed. I just sort of did it. Make sure that you got your backpack balanced on. It's just really unstable, so it shakes that shit around. Shake it like it's at a strip club. That's fucking cool. Why don't you stand up? God damn. I don't know why that made me so angry. Actually, I just realized I just packed this in the wrong fucking order. You know what else we might... Then die! Why? Okay. This fucking you AIDS burger. Okay, listen, no. Larry, just for such an occasion, Larry, will you make us all go fucking bankrupt? Oh my god. What? Oh, okay. Alright, I just won't stand up. Okay. Fuck you. Piece of shit. Get the fuck in there. I'm not asking fucking questions. Get the fuck in there. God damn! Not sure if that's a good way that I packed that or not. Not sure that I care. And I don't have any more room left for this. God dang. Need more serenity in my life! That's what I do. And so we're gonna see how this turns out.
It's some Miyazaki shit up in here. It's some kind of grave of the fireflies, man. It's some Miyazaki shit, yo. Anime was a mistake. Now we're talking. Look at that. The majesty. The little dripping water off of the tops of the bluff, if that's what that is. Sounds a little bit like an ASMR vid. A little bit, right? Alright, well, set it up, I guess. I feel like it'll be hard to keep in frame. This thing might be a little out of tune. Also, this rock chair probably ain't gonna be terribly comfortable. Also, this thing's really old. The pick guard flexes a bit, keeping me from picking too fast. Strings are old. For some reason, I think the grease on my fingers wants to cling to it a lot. But let's give it a shot. It's also a bit out of tune, I just can't tell. I'm not gonna take the time to play with it right now. Well, I hope it doesn't start raining now. I played that for somebody and they were like, what is that, Game of Thrones? And I was like, get out. Fucking Game of Thrones, man. That was a little bit off. Yeah, it's hard to slide. Oh, yeah, you know why? Because some of the, I guess it's either started to rust or it's just degrading, but the metal on the strings is starting to kind of go all Silent Hill, otherworldly on my ass. And so, as I drag my fingers along it, it's hard to climb the scales here. Anyone remember, anybody remember, what was the name of that game? Black and White, you know? What was his name? Peter Molyneux? Yeah, the part here where you have to slide, really hard to do. Going up and down them scales. When I went up north to go to the Celtic Festival, the friend that I was with, her mother, she was helping run that, and she also plays a mandolin. She broke her mandolin out. It was really expensive high-grade mandolin, and it sounded amazing. And I mean, I'm sure it had something to do with the grade of the mandolin, but also these perfectly triangular picks that I assume are balalaika picks. That may have been how I searched for it on Amazon. They definitely work with this instrument. If you do a mandolin or maybe like a viola, check out balalaika picks. Somebody actually recognized that. I can't remember what video I just broke out the Mando for no reason. Oh, I think it was the one about the ocarinas a little while ago. And they recognized that as Seven Drunken Nights, which is an old Irish folk song. This instrument is great for Irish folk songs, and I happen to be a pretty big fan of Irish vaudeville and Irish folk music. Generally just, 1800s American / Western European music. Actually, at the Celtic Festival, they had what's known as an octave mandolin, which is more like a lute, and it's slightly longer, and I played it. It's tuned almost exactly the same. It's beautiful, just a little bit more mellow than this. And I looked over to check the price tag. It was like $1,000, and I was like, whoa! That carried so far. Whoa! Holy. Where's the... Maybe it has to be lower. Oh, that's as low as it goes. But yeah, that song, Seven Drunken Nights, it's the lyrics of which are quite funny. A lot of the oh good, there's a mosquito right in the lens of that camera. I killed like 4 of your friends coming down here. I wouldn't play. What's weird is that you can't see it right now. It's like, oh, now you can. He's just there. His name is Barry. Hey Barry, you are not the master of all unlocking. When, the lyrics to it are basically about a husband who keeps coming home drunk every night, and his wife may or may not be with, like, several different men, or a different man every night, or just, he can't, the same guy, but every time he notices something strange, he says, and as I came home on a Monday night, as drunk can be, I saw a horse outside the door where my old horse should be, and I called my wife and I said to her, would you kindly tell to me who owns that horse up by the door where my old horse should be? And then she says, you're drunk, you silly old fool, till you cannot see that that's a brand new sow that my mother sent to me. And then he says, it's many a days that I've traveled 100 miles or more, but a saddle on the South Shore I've never seen before. And it just gets weirder and weirder. It's like, what's that coat there where my coat should be? Well, that's a new blanket that my mom sent to me. Well, why are there buttons on it? Anyway, it's classic, funny Irish folk music. If you really want a good laugh, I highly recommend looking into not only the Dubliners, the Pogues are good, Dubliners are tops, and they did a rendition of Little Militia Boy, I think, which just openly has the lyrics, he drilled her up in the sentry box wrapped up in the soldier's coat, and then after he's finished fucking her, she's like, so we're gonna get married, right? And he's like, oh, no, 2 wives are allowed in the army, but 1's too many for me, which is fantastic. Yeah, there's other songs, what I really would need to learn is McAlpine's Fusiliers. That is probably my favorite Irish folk song. Of course, everyone knows Whiskey in the Jar. There's also, I'm trying to figure out that riff that's played in the Metallica version. Anyway, there's a lot of songs that I've tried to learn to play by ear. A lot of Legend of, let's see, what... Huh, it must just be my echoes. For a second I thought someone was heckling me. Can't quite figure that one out yet. I know a few American folk songs. They're actually more challenging because they tend to be fast. Mandolin music kind of is almost like... A lot of folk music, which then kind of became bluegrass, is almost like speed metal. It focuses on going really fast. I highly recommend bands like Iron Horse, which does a lot of bluegrass covers of popular metal songs. They do an Aussie cover that's tops. Yeah, there's fucking people coming. Forget the rest of that one. Well, I forgot Irish Washerwoman. I used to know a lot more of these back in the day when really all I had to do was stay up till 3 a.m. and kind of, you know, play mandolin, maybe turn on the PSP. Remember that? Do you remember the PSP? Remember that handheld? Remember back when video games were fun? these old American folk songs are literally just all kind of just named some weird, you know, butters my rice folkism. I swear to God, it's just like, oh, can you play Sally Gooden? Can you play Papa Jonesy? Can you play Slappin' Danny? Like, what? You played Devil Went Down to Georgia. Played Farm Rumble Run. There you go. That's my Devil Went Down to Georgia. Anyway. Yeah, a little bit of Mando, never hurt nobody. So recently I've kind of had some interesting experiences, let's just say, that have unknowingly added some XP into my Buddhist skill, or my knowledge of Buddhism, or my experience of Buddhism. And the next part of that skill tree in this world RPG that it unlocked was Taoism. And I really wanted to do more research into it. It's one of those things that, ironically, upon briefly looking over it, it seems to be pretty congruent with a lot of the things that I suspect may be true about the universe. And I went to a bookstore to pick up, what is the actual, the work by Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching. God, I'm butchering that. But I looked at it, and it seemed like it had a bunch... It seems like it was a lot of proverbs written by Lao Tzu, and that without context, or someone with a higher experience level than me to kind of go over it and explain it, I might not interpret it correctly. Usually I'm not like that, but I have enough dots in theology concerning Christianity and Judaism to know that those books have been taken insanely out of context. And there's a lot of things in there that are still up for debate, let's just say, where it concerns the language used in translation. I was thinking just the other day about how we start off, some people will start off a sentence by saying, well, I mean, blah, 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 blah. And then you have to think to yourself, in a trillion years, when space archaeologists look at YouTube videos where people say, well, I mean, blah, 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 they'll say, wait, mean, what does that word translate to in English? And they'll say, oh, the average. It can be the average. It could be someone is savage, someone is brutal. It can be that, the meaning of something. And they'll just think about how strange it'll be to translate, just how many errors there can be because of the strange way that our language is evolving. And I think that that's probably no different than the language of back in the day, that even if it's translated outside of context, lacking any context, it leads one to possibly draw false conclusions. And so instead, and I looked over a bunch of different books. This was a cheap paperback that I want to read over, The Tao of Inner Peace. And I was a little turned off by the first few sentences because I'm not entirely sure about the author's interpretation, let's just say. How did you begin your search for peace? I began mine with political activism in the 60s. Well, but either way, I'm going to give it a go. And honestly, I felt like coming out here would be a pretty cool place to give this a read. I mean, park doesn't close for a few more hours, despite the few people that have come down here while I've been playing. Seems pretty quiet. So, let's get our Tao on, shall we?